Products from concrete for both interiors and public spaces. It's both simple and difficult at the same time. Enthusiastic masters of street furniture trying to give Ukrainian cities a new look. We installed the first batch of benches, and I really liked them. How do you make a durable object that is vandal-proof and weather-proof? UATV visited a studio of architectural concrete, where they produce everything for young Ukrainian urbanism. Seaside, Florida State, is one of the most famous towns in the world. More precisely, it is an unincorporated community planned by experts. It sounds complicated, but the local slogan explains the concept more clearly. Simple, beautiful life. Seaside was built in the 1980s from scratch in line with the ideas of new urbanism. After decades of uncontrolled growth of towns and cities in the USA, American architects decided to develop principles that will enable the creation of communities where people will not be hostages of transport and close but overly expensive housing. The main idea of new urbanism is a pedestrian in the center of everything. And it's not just about how to design parks where you can walk, as the whole town should be planned so its residents can get where they need on their own 2 feet. It's clear that in already existing megacities, it is problematic to achieve such an ideal. However, here the principles of new urbanism led to the reformatting of central streets into pedestrian public spaces and more reasonable expansion of suburbs. When these trends were emerging, Ukraine was still part of the Soviet Union, and now has to go through the same evolution in urban planning several times faster. Municipalities and private developers throughout the country have to lay out and design public spaces according to the standards of new urbanism, and workshops like this are helping them. We are an architectural concrete studio, and we make various products for the interior from concrete, including outdoor concrete furniture, large products for courtyards, parks, squares, and other public places. Andriy Odud and Serhiy Duts founded this business on the way of the rapid development of Ukrainian urbanism over the last 5 years. They tried to create things with a classic and functional design in order to humanize urban spaces, as opposed to old post-Soviet ideas about aesthetics. Roughly speaking, our philosophy is that people in urban spaces should look beautiful. And they can look beautiful only when they're surrounded by good, beautiful things. Beautiful things make a place beautiful. Up next, how did a gym administrator and a corporate director get to concrete creativity? What principles do they use when designing interior and outdoor facilities? And what should be taken into consideration when planning modern urban spaces? The history and secrets of the workshop, which helps to give Ukrainian cities a European look, right now on UATV. Kyiv is both a typical and unique metropolis. It was rebuilt at a frantic pace after the end of the World War II, but Soviet-period architects could not predict a total change in life at the end of the 20th century. It's not only that Ukraine gained independence and Kyiv turned into a fully fledged capital, where residents from the provinces flock in search of work, the economy itself changed radically. Within the city, close to the center, there were many enterprises and factories that became surplus to requirements with the restructuring of the industry. Workshops began to be leased for shopping centers and restaurants. In the realities of Kyiv in the 21st century, this was more necessary and valuable for the local economy. Many Soviet buildings had to be demolished in order to build housing for a growing population. Andriy Odud was one of those who were engaged in just this, professional destruction. The demolition company is one of the oldest and largest on the Ukrainian market. On the sites of our battle fame, there are now many various new business centers, residential buildings, residential neighborhoods. We have mechanical demolition. We have special demolition excavators, equipped with different attachments, a hydraulic hammer, hydraulic shears, so we bite and we smash this concrete. Andriy Odud did not sit at the controls of these excavators and did not even walk through the ruins with a sledgehammer. He worked as a corporate director, a white-collar worker. Despite the fact that the business was profitable, he got bored. Over the space of 10 years of work, I burned out so much, as I sat in this place, that it seemed to me that life was no longer sweet. I just sat in this office, looking at the ceiling and hating it all so much. It was against this background that I took a few days off, during which my wife and I began carrying out experiments with concrete. Yesterday, Andri's excavators crushed concrete buildings, and now he is carried away with flower pots made of the same concrete. But Serhiy Duds arrived at this material from a completely different side. I wanted to become an architect. But since I had to get training, and there was not much time at the age of 16 to do this, I went into the hotel and restaurant business. I worked in this field for almost 7 years, starting from bartender and living as head of the reception and hospitality service of the Olympic Stadium in Kiev. Curiously enough, the old Olympic Stadium was demolished by Andriy Odud's company for reconstruction prior to the 2012 European Football Championship. But at that time, he and Serhiy did not know each other. The administrator of the new sports complex was looking for where to apply his old passion. I've been interested in this area all of my life: architecture, urban planning, construction. So I volunteered to help at one of the facilities. The task was this: let's create a qualitatively different approach to the organization of landscaping. The customer liked the project, but the question arose: how do we actually do it? Then Serhiy found Andriy through mutual friends. They called me, they said, Andriy, you're an expert in concrete. You have some sort of experience. We need to make a number of elements of outdoor furniture. I took quite a long period of leave from work and organized and managed the entire process. We delivered the first batch of benches, and I really liked it. I realized that this is all that I wanted to do all my life. Since then, production has expanded, and today this workshop is working on projects throughout Ukraine, not only in Kiev. Serhiy Duds and Andriy Odud are explaining, especially to UATV, the difference between interior and outdoor furniture items made of concrete, what needs to be taken into account when working with public locations, and in general, how this is made. How it's made. It is both simple and difficult at the same time. If you know the secret and you have experience in the practical application of these secrets, the complexity, as such, disappears immediately. If you do not know this, then it's all very difficult, because you have to go through your theory, which you have learned somewhere, put it into practice, wait, see what happened, wait, and see how it will behave in a year. Andriy Odud says that the workshop uses the same cement from a Ukrainian producer for both interior products and outdoor furniture. Sand, crushed stone. Several types of polymer additives are mixed in the solution, a fiber if necessary, as well as a plasticizer. This is a special additive that allows you to ensure the correct water-cement ratio. This is something that is very critical for proper concrete. This allows you to get a fairly mobile concrete mix, adding as much water as is necessary there. Without a plasticizer, you cannot mix plastic concrete without adding more water than you need. And the more water, the more fragile the concrete structure is. The standard ratio of water should be 30% by weight of cement. If you do not add a plasticizer, thin-walled products that are often found among interior items cannot be made from such a mixture. But after creating the 3D model, the prototype for each new object first appears not in concrete. If we're happy with it all, we mill this 3D model on a 3D cutter. For example, and our model expert produces a primer and consistent polishing step by step to get a master model that will be an exact copy of the product that we're going to produce. The 3D cutter is in fact a 3D printer in reverse. It does not laminate, but cuts a given model from a soft material like fiberboard. When a polyurethane or fiberglass mold is removed from it, the concrete should be poured in a special way. When we mix concrete, it rotates constantly there and is continually saturated with some sort of air bubbles, which is not good. In order to compress the mass of concrete, we subject the form together with the concrete to vibrations on the vibrating table, or vibrate it with the help of a submersible aberrator. The product is removed from the mold every other day, but it can be regarded as ready only after 2 weeks of drying in a separate room. Then you can grind without fear that the concrete will crumble. If it is interior concrete, we can polish it, close it with special compounds so that moisture, oils, and so on don't get into it. We cover all our products, sinks, countertops, with special 2-component polyurethane coatings. Plant pots are protected by a hydrophobic agent that prevents concrete from absorbing moisture from the ground. In the workshop, Andrei is responsible for items for interiors and believes that they can make any decorative or functional object, even a sculpture to order. I jokingly nicknamed it Kiev Boots Troy, here with 2 Ds, because we made several rather large works, sculptures of Buddha. We made a very large sculpture for one restaurant, a huge face of Buddha, about 3 meters by 2 in size. Serhiy Duts is responsible for the landscaping of streets and explains that the main difficulty here is not in what the concrete is made from. The basis of any concrete structure from the category of small architectural forms for landscaping is an armored frame. Everything actually revolves around the first task, how to fix the whole thing, so that it stands, so that it does not collapse with time, does not break, and the like. On the one hand, the reinforced framework should not be too complicated, so that even new employees who are not familiar with the production process can master it quickly and easily. On the other hand, the construction should not create problems when the concrete is being poured, and at least 3 centimeters should be left between the framework and the surface. Otherwise, a layer that is too thin will simply crumble after several freeze-thaw cycles. One of my obsessions is hidden mountain fixtures. I just don't like it when you can see these screws, these bolts and the like. I try to think everything through all the time, so that none of this is visible. In fact, roughly speaking, we simply screw the bolt into the concrete base. The rest of the production process is almost the same. Only concrete for outdoor furniture is added with special substances that provide durability to the material when there are big temperature changes. A bench may seem like a very simple product, but Serhiy tries to find the perfect shape every time. I want to create something really beautiful. That's why a lot of attention is paid to the form itself. That is, it should be A. vandal-proof in terms of operation, B. aesthetically in terms of design, and C. it should not be overly complex in terms of production. These are the 3 main criteria we use. Serhiy admits that if vandals set themselves the goal of breaking one of his benches, they will break it, but on the whole he's counting on a structure in such way that is as vandal-resistant as possible. Even in the worst-case scenario, it will be possible to bring boards or blocks for replacement the next day. Basically, municipalities and developers come here to get custom-made outdoor furniture made. Quite often, they ask for advice on how best to set out their territory. We made the embankment for Eurovision, starting from a partial adjustment of the planning project for territory, these tracks, and ending with the installation of outdoor furniture. According to Serhiy, one of the typical mistakes made by inexperienced architects is that they plan their territory so that it looks spectacular from above at the stage of drawings and layout, but do not take into account the daily needs of people and what is called the ideology of space. You give elementary recommendations. Nobody will walk around this flower bed, from the playground to the nearest bench. It is 30 meters. They will walk straight. One person goes straight, the second goes straight, the third goes straight. You'll simply have a path. Only a dove will see that this path goes diagonally and breaks this beautiful square. But the dove does not care about a square or a circle or a diagonal. It's indifferent. This is a very big problem of our post-Soviet approach to architecture and the planning of space. This workshop appreciates the integrated approach of the developer for the municipality towards planning issues, when public space is not thought of as a residual but ahead of time. Work on some locations may last more than a year for Serhiy and his workmates, but then they're certain that they're creating public space not for the sake of a tick on a list, but for people and in the spirit of new urbanism. Ideally, we want to do everything that is connected with small non-commercial architectural forms to improve looks. Each object should lead us to something, to some kind of development. Roughly speaking, we should not be ashamed to show anyone any of our objects. Benches from the Ukrainian workshop recently interested urbanists from Europe, particularly from Stockholm. At the same time, Serhiy Duts and Andrei Odud from time to time allocate a certain amount of their items for charitable landscaping. They want Ukraine to quickly go the way of modern urbanism and also be able to boast of world-class locations.